What is going on, guys? Matt O'Leary back with another video on this lovely Saturday morning. Wanted to go through and talk about the biggest winners and losers from Jets OTAs as the voluntary portion of Jets offseason activity came to a close yesterday. Now, a very important caveat. A lot of you get it. Most of you guys get it, and I appreciate that. But sometimes I see it in the comments, it drives me nuts. Or it's like it's voluntary, they don't have pads, like you can't have any takeaways until training camp or the preseason regular. I fully understand that whatever happens in OTAs does not necessarily mean that positive or negative is going to translate to mini camp, training camp, preseason, regular season. Like, I fully understand that. I make videos about this team every single day. I talk about what's going on in Jets land and what Jet fans are talking about, most importantly, every single day of the year practically. And right now it's OTAs. So yes, obviously take it with a grain of salt. I thought I was clear on that, but apparently I need to be more clear on that. So while these guys that we'll talk about who had a positive experience and negative experience, we'll get into it and talk about why they had either a positive or negative impact. But like, again, nothing is written in stone. Let's not overreact. It's football. It's supposed to be fun. And like, let's just talk about what's going on with our favorite team. We're allowed to talk about what's happening with the team. Anyway, sorry for the rant there a little bit, but anyway, Nick Faria, who covers the New York Jets, had an article came out with the biggest winners from Jets OTAs, and it kind of got me thinking about who some of my winners would be, and then I also wanted to include losers. Unfortunately, like, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Yes, there were a lot of good things to come out of OTAs, but also some guys struggled and some guys did not have the best run of it. So the guys that Nick Faria listed as his winners were Xavier Gipson, Eric Watts, and Braylon Allen, three young players that I want to focus on first. Now for Gipson, he's gotten a lot of run out of the slot and probably a touch ahead of Malachi Corley right now. And he's played well. I'm happy for Xavier Gipson. I want all these guys to play well, and we'll see again if that translates to training camp and preseason. But Gibson's a touch ahead of Malachi Corley as of right now. Does that mean that's going to be the case in August? Of course not, no, but we're just talking about the state of the team right now. And Xavier Gipson has performed well and looks to be just a slight bit ahead of Malachi Corley in the pecking order for now. Again, this is someone who at times last year was very, very explosive. I think he would have a better connection with Aaron Rodgers than Trevor Siemian, Tim Boyle, or Zach Wilson. And I'm glad to see him, growing his game going into year two. And I hope that his time as a receiver isn't the only thing that's growing. I hope that his return abilities and punt return abilities are also improving. Eric Watts is another one. He's fighting for a roster spot as a UDFA. To me, there are three guys who I think have a really good chance to make the roster. Now, obviously, it's going to be tough for all three to make the roster, but when you see UDFAs get signed, you kind of, or at least I like to, go through and talk about which ones I think have a good chance to make the roster. And the three with the best chance, maybe that's the best way to put it, is Eric Watts is one of them. Leonard Taylor, interior defensive lineman, is another one. And Braden McGregor out of Michigan, who is also an edge rusher. For Watts, I thought he was impressive. He beat Olu Fashanu on a couple reps earlier in the week, last week and the week prior. Has just kind of been involved and around in the play and getting some run here as some of the vets and regulars on the defensive line aren't involved as much, which again is totally fine. I'm okay with that. But this is the opportunity for a guy like Eric Watts to show what he is. And I think your first three edge rushers are pretty much locked in stone with Hassan Reddick, Jermaine Johnson, and Will McDonald. But in that fourth spot, you have like Eric Watts, Braden McGregor, and Michael Clemens fighting for that spot. And I think it's very much so up for grabs, and a good summer can help him win that. I feel like I've spent the last 2 weeks talking about Braylon Allen, but I have to do it again because when he was listed as one of the winners by Nick Faria, and I agree 100%, he was probably the lead back with Breece Hall out. Breece Hall was not practicing yet, which is totally fine. Braylon has got a majority of the reps and has looked good, especially as a pass catcher, which is a new part of his game. That is something I'm excited to see from him the remainder of the summer and see how that translates to game situations. Some other names that I would like to list as a positive. I'm going to group these two guys together because each individual is expected to be good, but the Rodgers and Garrett Wilson connection, just picking up right where they left off last summer, is exciting. Like I get it. It's designed right now to be more advantageous to the offense, but I am very excited, and give me all the slow motion Rodgers to Wilson throws. I will continue to watch them, even though you have curmudgeons complaining about those. Last name, another Jets rookie, Quantez Stiggers, who has made some plays, man. He made some plays against Allen Lazard. He had a pick six on a pass that was intended for, I think, either Braylon Allen or Isaiah Davis, one of the two young backs. I can't remember. And he's just kind of been around and making plays. There was something they liked about him from day 3. Came out of the CFL last year, and the Jets need some depth at corner because, looking beyond even just this year, DJ Reed's a free agent at the end of the season. Michael Carter's a free agent at the end of the season. I don't think they're bringing back both as much as you might want to, and as much as I might want to bring back both of those guys. I think they have to pick, and if you could only pick one of the two, I would choose Michael Carter because he's younger, and slot corners don't make nearly as much, and Carter is a better slot corner than DJ Reed is a better outside corner. I think you can make a case Michael Carter is a top 3 slot corner in the sport, maybe at worst 3. And DJ Reed, for as good as he isn't a top 3 corner, outside corner. He's probably like top 20, top 15 in that range. Very, very good player, but I just don't think the Jets could afford to pay Sauce, DJ Reed, and Michael Carter. So unfortunately, going to have to make a tough decision, but maybe that's where Quantez comes in as a potential starter down the line. On the loser side, it's hard to come up with like big time losers, but there's two guys that jump out a little bit, and the first is Izzy Abanikanda. And again, we'll keep an eye on them the rest of the summer here to see if that trend continues. But for Izzy, he hasn't gotten reps with the 1s or the 2s. Allen Davis and even Tariq Cohen, who was just brought in like a week ago, have all gotten more run than he has, which probably isn't a great sign for Izzy Abanikanda. It's going to depend on Tariq Cohen's health, I think, anyway. But when they drafted Allen and Davis, that was a little bit of a red flag for Izzy. Stylistically very different than the kind of runner Izzy is, and him not getting much run yet probably doesn't bode well, but again, things can change as we get later in the summer. The second one's been Allen Lazard. I am hoping for a bounce back year from Allen Lazard, who really struggled last season. Obviously, the Rodgers and Lazard connection was solid in Green Bay. Maybe it could be solid again, but drops have been an issue for Allen Lazard in OTAs. Like, we're not even into game situations yet, and drops are already becoming a little bit of an issue, which is frustrating. That was a frustrating part of his game last year. So let me know your thoughts on the biggest winners and losers. Did I miss anybody who should be included as a winner or as a loser? Sound off below in the comments. I'm Matt. I'll catch you guys next time.